As yet another international economic sanction against Russia in response to its war in Ukraine, leading Western nations have pledged to bar several large Russian banks from using the SWIFT system. The upshot of this would be to cut Russia off from much of the international financial system. The goal, according to a joint statement issued by the United States, the European Commission, France, Germany, Italy, the United Kingdom, and Canada on February 26, 2022, is to hold Russia to account and collectively ensure that this war is a strategic failure for Putin. This will ensure that these banks are disconnected from the international financial system and harm their ability to operate globally, the joint statement said. A day earlier, French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire characterized the exclusion of Russia from SWIFT as the financial nuclear weapon. This will ensure that these banks are disconnected from the international financial system and harm their ability to operate globally, according to the joint statement referenced above. Ursula von der Leyen, president of the European Commission, said that cutting Russian banks out of the system will stop them from conducting most of their financial transactions worldwide and effectively block Russian exports and imports. More specifically, Russian banks would be unable to make and receive payments for trade and financial activities, severely hampering, if not blocking, its exports of commodities such as oil, coal, and natural gas. Russia's imports of key technologies such as semiconductors and machinery for its industries also would be disrupted, if not blocked. Russian financial institutions handle about $46 billion worth of foreign exchange transactions per day, about 80% of which are denominated in US dollars. SWIFT handles 42 million remittances per day, of which Russian financial institutions accounted for 1.5% as of 2020. In 2014, when the UK appealed to European leaders to consider cutting off Russia's access to SWIFT in response to the Russian annexation of the Crimea, Russia's finance minister estimated that this move would shrink his country's gross domestic product by 5%. A cutoff not only would terminate all international transactions, but it also would trigger currency volatility and cause massive capital outflows. In 2014, barring Russia from SWIFT was considered to be a major escalation that the Western nations chose to avoid. Russia's prime minister at the time, Dmitry Medvedev, called it tantamount to a declaration of war. Barring Russian banks from SWIFT will inflict collateral damage on other countries, mainly by disrupting Russian oil and gas exports. The EU, for example, relies on Russia for 40% of its natural gas imports. European banks are among the biggest creditors to Russia, accounting for a significant portion of the $121 billion that Russia owns in total to foreign banks, according to the Bank for International Settlements. Removing Russia from SWIFT will impair its ability to make repayments on that debt. Since 2014, Russia has enacted several countermeasures to minimize the risks and potential economic damage from a cutoff from SWIFT. If Russian banks are removed from the Visa and MasterCard payment systems, all domestic transactions could be processed through the National Payment Card System, known as MIR, which now handles about 24% of all domestic card transactions. Performing international transfers, however, would be arduous. In the medium term, SWIFT could be replaced for domestic purposes with the Russian equivalent system for transfer of financial messages, set up by the Russian Central Bank in 2014. In 2020, SPFS traffic doubled to almost 13 million messages, but it is small compared to SWIFT. More than 400 financial institutions have joined SPFS, mostly Russian banks, but key foreign banks operating in Russia have yet to join. About 20% of all domestic transfers go through SPFS. Also, SPFS operates only during weekday working hours. SWIFT works 24/7, and it limits the messages to 20 kilobytes. Key takeaways. Leading Western nations pledged to bar key Russian banks from the SWIFT global interbank messaging system. This would severely hamper, if not block, Russia's exports and imports, as well as its ability to top reserves held abroad. France's finance minister calls this the financial nuclear weapon.